Welcome to our new album. Hello. This is Pear Shaped in Dystopia. Every Wednesday night at 8:30. Yes, it's Pear Shaped, and we hope you'll come to see us and don't be late. Yes, it's Pear Shaped. It's just a fiver to come in, and we hope that you'll be coming back again to Pear Shaped in Dystopia every Wednesday night at 8:30.
Hello. Good evening, ladies. Hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are the two biddies, and as you can see, looking at the three of us here, one of us is missing.
That's right. I'm Biddy.
Yes, and I'm Biddy as well.
And we are identical giblets.
Identical giblets, we are.
Except for Biddy.
Except for Biddy, who's not here, and wherever she is,
she's not all there either.
But you probably noticed something.
They noticed something.
Yes, they probably noticed something.
But it's a tendency.
Yes, we
because we're identical giblets.
Yes, we do have a tendency. To speak in
at the same
unison.
time.
I don't know what it is. It's something to do with being.
Well, I don't know what it is. Biddy talked all the time, and if I want to say
yes,
anything,
it's something
I
to
have
do
to
with
just start talking, because otherwise I don't get a word in edgeways.
What happens is that we tend to go along, and then we
both
end up
stop
speaking exactly at the same time.
And stop at the same time.
And it's all to do with timing, isn't it? Timing. It's all to do with timing.
Timing.
Yes, and remembering. Timing and remembering.
Oh,
That's
yes.
what we like to do, is remember to time things.
Remember to time things.
Yes.
Especially on St. Patrick's Day. Now,
Yes.
What are we here to do?
We're here, ladies and gentlemen, to sing a bit of a medley.
Oh, which bit?
No, it's a whole medley. Ladies and gentlemen, God in His infinite wisdom has
Not yet.
blessed.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Right.
No.
Okay.
So it's a medley of songs.
It says a medley of songs that we don't know,
no.
closely followed by a medley of songs that we do know.
Oh, right.
And you have to try and let us know which is which, because we don't know.
No. What's the medley?
What's the medley? Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, God in His infinite wisdom has blessed poor Biddy here with an amazing lack of intellect.
Oh.
But what she lacks in intellect, ladies and gentlemen, she makes up for with her incredible lack of physical beauty and talent.
I do.
I do. 2 words you will never hear Biddy say on an altar. Possibly behind a bicycle shed, but never on an altar. Behind a bicycle shed for a very small remuneration.
Oh, right. Yes. I don't have a bicycle.
She hasn't got a bicycle.
Or a shed.
Or a shed.
No.
So she's not fussy.
No.
Is what she's trying to say.
That is right.
Yes.
So these are beautiful, traditional Irish songs.
Yes,
that we wrote ourselves.
All the way from the hills and the mountains and the valleys and the dales
of
Scotland, Ireland.
Oh, changed it.
Yes.
Okay, so I think I should tell them that we have an incredible edible CD.
Why don't you tell them about our edible CD?
Yes, it's incredible edible CD.
It is.
You wouldn't want to play it.
Well, you would want to.
You don't want to listen to it.
But you get halfway through it and you think, Jesus, I'd rather eat this than listen to it.
It's much tastier than it sounds.
It is, and it's not fattening.
No, not at all. So, some of our hit songs, which we'll do for you later.
We have some fantastic songs.
We had some amazing songs. Like, I'd rather be miserable with you than happy with somebody new.
What a lovely sentiment.
And you're just about as good as I can get.
You're just about as good as I can get. Ladies and gentlemen, a song of resignation and acceptance.
Yes. Well, it's a love song, actually.
For people with low self-esteem, people like yourselves who feel that going on to Facebook at 8:30, you're going to get some kind of entertainment.
Ridiculous, is that? They're all idiots. They're all idiots.
Yeah.
So maybe our next song is actually, speaking of idiots, maybe we deserve each other after all.
Yes. Isn't that
That's a
lovely?
resignation.
Maybe we deserve each other after all. It's like because you were meant to be with each other, even though neither one of you knew it.
It's a recognition of resignation.
Is it?
And low self-esteem, basically.
Yes.
And then I went off, didn't I?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen,
I had a solo career.
She did, yes. Biddy went on to the X Factor, and she met that miserable little weasel of a man, Louis Walsh.
Louis Walsh, he's lovely.
And he
took a shine to me.
He took a shine to her. And
I don't know why, he's only about that big, I don't know why.
He managed to convince her that I was holding her back.
Yes.
And I mean, God, look, I wouldn't even want to hold her front.
No.
But he convinced her that I was a problem, and she went solo. She went lower than anybody expected.
That's right.
Didn't she?
And I had a lovely song called I Know That I'm Only a Woman, But I'm Twice the Man That You Will Ever Be.
Yes. A horrible song. It is a horrible song. Not only horrible, but sexist.
Yes, sexist.
I was called sexist once. The lady came up, she said, yes, sexist bastard. I said, yes, sexiest bastard you'll ever meet.
Oh, that's lovely.
She wasn't impressed.
No, nobody was. And then my second song was a bit more of a thinking song, I think.
Yes.
I won't say thinking, I'll say thinking. Anyway, it's If I Knew Then What I Know Now.
You'd still be none the wiser.
Yes, that's right.
That's the one, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
And that didn't go so well, so we got back together, didn't we?
We did, yes. We all make mistakes.
With another lovely song, which is called There Are 10 Million Reasons Why I Love You.
I just wish I could remember two or three. Yes. That's
so we will be singing.
And on the B side, the back side, the arse of it, the one with the hole in it, there was another song called "You Bring Out the Imbecile in Me." This is
another love song.
Yeah, another love song. They're all love songs.
Yes. Now, we would like to sing a song, but it's too late now.
It is.
So we're going to introduce the first act.
Yes. And he's not going to sing a song this week.
No.
No. And his name is Robert White.
Robert White. Here we go.
Well, that was Robert White going for a walk. So that is yeah. Well, I wasn't expecting that. Good. Well, yeah. That was Robert White. I presume that's his mum. I have no idea. She may not even know that she's here. We could. That's very dangerous because I remember once the Comedy Store put some video on of the Gong Show, and he got struck down with a suit, a privacy suit and whatever, and so what happened is that after that, they were very cautious about what they put on television. So when they did a show about the Gong Show again, they had to Donald had to ring around to the circuit asking if anyone who had died horribly at the Gong Show had got their had got not enough shame to have it put on national television, and somebody was rung up and they said, oh well, can we use your stuff, your death? And they said, oh, I don't care, don't care. Yeah, put it on, be a laugh. And they were at Pear Shaped, and the week after it went out, because it was about 3 months later, and this shot of them dying and being booed off the Gong Show when I was being on TV, and so somebody came up to them and said, why didn't they ask for my footage of being booed off at the Gong Show? It's like, that's how sad comedians are. They would actually really rather have they'll be on TV at any cost, anything, anything for exposure. There's no exposure here. This is kind of closure rather than exposure. It's sort of just the end of a meaningless void of nothing. I have made some effort with the background this week. Apart from the Hoover, there is the vaccine poster, which I got from 38 Degrees because they were giving them away. So I said, yeah, I'll have one. So there we are. I thought we'd target the market because there's loads of anti-vax people and anti-lockdown people. So I'm going after the market of people who want the vaccine, even though it might give them a blood clot, because that's our audience, I feel. A normal gig, we would do some audience interaction, although I never did any anyway. It was like, hello, what do you do? 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 You see what happens. I turn into the Queen, and if you've seen the Queen's a rubbish compare. You never see the Queen go along somewhere and say, hello, what do you do? And someone says, well, I work at the Diamond Light Accelerator. And the Queen says, that's good, because I've got a funny story about that. Sometimes Prince Philip says, go away, or whatever. Because you think of as normal people, but they're not. So like the Queen is kept in perfect health, so she's pumped full of stem cells 24/7 by private doctors and NHS, because otherwise she'd be shooting them out like machine gun bullets and they'd take over. That's why we hear that Prince Philip has been in hospital as a precaution, because if he wasn't in, the new ones you see, they're not second generation. They're all from the original. There is one Queen who creates, one for the ants there. Good. They're having a strange time, the royals. There's the whole thing with Meghan and Harry. I feel a bit sorry for Meghan, because like if you've been like a proper actress and then you give up and you go to the royal family and then you give up, you're not going to get another gig as an actress. So I mean, what do? You've either got to go behind the camera, or you've got to do that staple of jobs that are for people who can't get any other employment, like stand up. I don't think it'll be long before the deal with Netflix falls through and they realise that they bought a load of rubbish, and I'm expecting the Sussexes to ring up and ask to do Pear Shaped at any time, but unfortunately they have missed the boat. Our business policy used to be to put everyone on, and when Brian brought it back, he said, I've had enough of this policy. So our policy now is to put on people we like. Unfortunately, this is no one. Brian cannot find people that he likes. There may even be room for the Wessexes or the Sussexes or whatever they are now. Good. Even Oprah Winfrey, if she fancies it. It's a strange world, isn't it? I feel things are going downhill. Well, I mean, you used to be able to walk across Dogger Bank to Norway, but due to global warming and sea rises, that's no longer possible. It's all downhill. Good, that's a joke. Shall I put an act on yet, or should I get on a bit more? I don't know. I think I've peaked. We could crack on the hope of orgasming together. When you've had bad sex, you just want to get away, don't you? So I'm going to put on the next act. So can we have some some love and appreciation, please, for Mr. Dickie Richards.
Hello, I'm Dickie Richards. I'm a bon vivant, I'm a raconteur, I'm a major contributor to global greenhouse gases. I accept all major credit and debit cards and PayPal. Parts of my body have been designated sites of special scientific interest, and one part of my body is a picnic area. Now, I'm not going to tell you which part of my body that is, because after all, what is life without some mystery? I'm a Polish Cockney, and I'm a sexual tyrannosaur. Yes, that's right. Sexually, I'm just like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Yeah, I've had nothing in 65 million years. Not true, of course, not true. No, sex, in actual fact, is my favourite pastime, and I've had a lot of sex in my life. Yes, all over the world in thousands of different positions. But it still excites me. Yes, I still have sexual fantasies. Yeah, I'd love to have a twosome. little joke there. Sorry about that. Little joke about masturbation, and I don't like doing it. And that's the thing about masturbation. It's a little bit unpleasant, but it's good to get it out your system. Actually, I read that the average man masturbates 7 times a week. You know, I'm an average man. I masturbate about 5 times a week, roughly, and twice a week, really gently. Yes, and Polish Cockney. So you can tell probably that I'm a Londoner, a Cockney, but you won't know that both my parents were Polish and came over as refugees in World War II. So I was born to Polish parents, but in London, brought up in London. So I really am half and half. I'm half Cockney and half Polish. And that gives me a real fight going on inside, this real Jekyll and Hyde battle going on between the Cockney and the Polish, because you see the Cockney side of me wants to break into your house and the Polish side wants to decorate it. Yeah. And all my family were Polish, all my family. My granddad was a pilot in the Polish Air Force during World War II, and he got shot down over the English Channel, and he survived the crash, and he swam to Britain, right? And he almost immediately joined what subsequently became a very famous Polish squadron in the RAF. And I'm proud to say that my granddad flew a Hurricane in the Battle of Britain, right? How cool is that? And my absolute hero. And whenever I used to go and see him as a child, he used to take this little tin box from out underneath his mattress, and inside the tin box were some medals, a flight logbook, and a watch with his squadron insignia on it. And he used to let me hold the watch, and he'd tell me stories about his adventures and his escapades in World War II. And I say, he's my absolute hero. I was fascinated by it. Now, he died about 8 years ago, and I was really proud that he left me that watch in his will. And in tribute to my granddad, I keep that watch under my mattress too. Now, about 2 years ago, I was away for the whole of the summer working. And I remember I got home, it was about 5 o'clock in the evening, and I put my key in the door, and the house was quiet, but I heard some movement upstairs. So I rushed upstairs, and I opened up my bedroom door, and I discovered my teenage daughter in my bed with her boyfriend, both of them naked. I went mad. I kicked him out. I said, get out of my house. I mean, I'm not having that. Not on my watch. And my grandma, she was another hero of mine. She, during the war, she was in Warsaw, became part of the Warsaw Uprising and the underground resistance movement. And she used to pass messages secretly for the resistance. Very dangerous thing to do, because it was just on a penalty of death if you were caught. But she'd pass messages, and she'd pass them in using a jar of hand cream, and had the messages secreted inside. And you know, she used to, whenever I used to go and see her, she used to have this jar of hand cream by her bed, and she used to let me hold it. She used to tell me stories about her, you know, adventures and escapades in World War II. Again, I was fascinated by it, and again, she's an absolute hero of mine. And she died. She died about 8 years ago again, and she left me that jar of hand cream in her will. I was very proud that she left it to me, and in tribute to my grandmother, I leave that jar of hand cream on my bedside table. Now, a few years ago, I was out on a Friday night, and I met this girl, and we got on really, really well. I mean, very, very well. And she came back to mine, and pretty soon, before you know it, we were in bed together. And she said to me, she said, Dickie, did you mind if I just blindfold you for a minute? It's something I want to try. I said, yeah, well, I'm up for that, of course. So she blindfolded me, and then suddenly I felt this really cold sensation all over my bits. And I whipped off the blindfold, and I took a look down, and she'd got the hand cream, and she'd spread all this hand cream on my... I went mad. I kicked her out. I said, get out of my house. No, I'm not having that. Not on my crotch. And talking to my grandparents, my granddad on my dad's side, he was a good man. Again, another hero of mine. Now, I've got a birthmark on my thigh. And I used to be really embarrassed by it as a kid. And whenever I was in school doing PE, the other kids used to take the mickey out of it. And I remember going to see my granddad, and he said to me, listen, don't be ashamed of that. Never be ashamed of that. Listen, I've got the same birthmark. And he says, your granddad had the same birthmark. And he showed me exactly the same place, very similar. And he said, listen, that birthmark actually gave me away. So during the war, the Russians discovered who I was by my birthmark, and they deported me to Siberia. And when I was there, I escaped from Siberia, and I made my way across Europe, and then rejoined the Allies. And I fought in Normandy, and I, liberated parts of Belgium. And again, he was an absolute hero of mine. Would tell me these stories. So he made me stop being embarrassed about my birthmark and actually become proud of it. Now, a few years ago, I was telling this story to this woman who was a journalist. She said, "That's a really interesting story. Do you mind if I do a piece about it? Come take some photos." I said, "Yeah, sure." So she came around my house and set up this little sort of like studio affair, and she said, "Well, let's take some photos of your birthmark." So she's taking some photos, and she stopped me. She went, "No, do you know what? Just give me a minute." She got this bag out, and she had like this makeup in there, and she started with this brush. I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm just putting some like rouge on it, to make it stand out more for the camera." Well, I went mad. I thought, I kicked her out. I said, "Get out! Get out of my house!" I mean, I'm not having that. Not on my blotch. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Dickie Richards. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful Dickie Richards.
Dickie Richards, yes.
Dickie Richards.
Where were we?
Little Dickie Richards.
That's right.
I used to work for a tailor,
Did you?
And this fella came in, he picked out a bit of material, and I said, "Would you like a suit made of that?" He said, "No, not on my swatch."
Ah, perfect.
There we go.
So, we were just about to do a song. I know
Yes.
our songs.
Yes.
It got to 69, didn't it?
It did. Got to number 69 in the charts, ladies and
Irish.
gentlemen. It didn't know whether to go up or go down. And in the end, he said, "Fuck it, I'll stay where I am."
Ready?
She was just another roundabout on the ring road of my
My
life.
life. Three-part harmony there.
One road led to happiness, and the other to my wife. I should have forked off to the left, but I forked off to the right. She was just another roundabout on the ring road of my life. There is more to it, but I have too much compassion to do it. You told me you were going to the grocer. Try to get some sugar for my tea. You said that you'd be back in a minute, but that was back in 1993. All together now, 1993. Oh, 1993. You went to get some sugar for my tea. Now I'm bitter and I'm twisted. My life would be much sweeter if I only had some sugar in my tea. Instrumental. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, 1993. 1993. You went to get some sugar for my tea. But when you finally return, you'll be very glad to learn I don't take sugar in my tea anymore. I don't take sugar in my tea anymore. Oh,
Would you like a cup of coffee?
yes, please.
Would you like some sugar?
No,
Milk?
no.
Oh.
No, I'd like to introduce the next act.
Oh, right. Wait a minute.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Who's
Yes.
the next one? Oh, it's 2 minutes of pattern math.
Is it? Ladies and gentlemen, 2 minutes of pattern math.
Hi, Sean.
Catherine, hello, and hands up for holding. Welcome to 2 minutes of pattern math. Catherine,
Yeah,
you look like a feminist.
I am.
That'll be why. In your esteemed opinion,
Mm-hmm.
should we start building snow women?
Ah, as opposed to just snowmen.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know what? And this might be slightly controversial. I'm going to say no. Because I quite like the ritual of building a snowman. You know? Because, like, it's so exciting, isn't it? You know, you see the first bits of snow
Yeah.
falling down and you get all your friends together, don't you? And you look and you're like, it's snowing. And then you all get like warm, get your warm clothes on, don't you? Your gloves,
Wrap
scarf
up.
on. You get your lasso, don't you? Your whips. and he nets, and then you run out into the street, don't you? And you find one. You find a man, don't you? And you hunt him down, and he's running away, and you catch him, and you tie him up, and you drag him back. And sometimes it can be quite hard because they don't always want to go with you. And then you get them into your garden, don't you? And you strip them, and then you start building them big balls, don't you? Those adorable 3-ball things like that. You build a snowman, and you put a little coal and his little carrot nose, don't you? And I don't want to mess with that formula, Just and then he becomes at one with the snow, and then in the morning he melts, and it's all just gone. It's beautiful. Why bring women into it?
That was Pat and Matt discussing feminism and snowmen. We are what we are here. Yes. So we're not snowmen or snow women. I'm always fascinated by Patrick's background because he has these slats behind him, and there's a light, and it doesn't have a lampshade. So these are the things that occupy my mind. You can, yeah. Good. So I don't have any contribution to add to that debate. So I suppose I'll just waffle on. I'm a bit rusty. That's why we're doing this, because we're a bit rusty. I'm a bit rusty. I've been on tour. Well, I went to the other room. That was a tour. Then I should be going to the bathroom later. So there's lots of things to see. Children get to see more. They've gone back to school. I'm a bit jealous because when I was at school I was always in detention. So I think that homeschooling would have worked for me because I could have been in detention and at school at the same time and at home. So all of the things could merge together, and I could be in it would have been a perfect environment for me. Good. It's a strange one. I saw the cracking down on protests, and Extinction Rebellion are quite angry about this. Apparently, they're going to be locked away for 10 years for being awkward. But I thought that their model was that they were going to get 400 people arrested. So it dovetails really, doesn't it? Good. So that's politics. Have kids. That's the only advice I have to give. Have kids because we have an aging population. So if you young kids don't, if you young kids don't have children, then the population will die out. There'll be no one to pay a pension. That's what the politicians tell us anyway. Of course, what they don't tell you at the same time is the children that are being born are also getting fatter and fatter. So if you work it out as a volume to surface area ratio, there are as many children there now as there were in 1945. But by 2150, there'll just be an enormous Billy Bunter child the size of Paul's Cathedral, and we'll all be working to support that. That's why people had to camp outside St Paul's Cathedral to stop that happening. I mean, that was nonsense, the Occupy movement. I mean, I am an old lefty, but I think there should be minimum qualifications for protest. Like, you should have to be awake, because if falling asleep in the middle of the City of London was an effective form of political protest, I did that in my office opposite the Bank of England for about 10 years, and it didn't bring down economic neoliberalism. By the way, if you want to close down a political discussion, you can just say the words, that's economic neoliberalism. And no one understands what it means, but it closes all debates, whether they're left-wing, right-wing, UKIP, Brexit. You just say, that's economic neoliberalism, and everybody shuts up. It's brilliant. Brexit was, yeah. Let's move on, because I've run out of things to do. So now I'll start plugging Bitcoin or something if we don't move on. I don't know. Well, to go on about how great Bitcoin is, and I've made thousands and thousands of pounds on Bitcoin. You must buy Bitcoin because I've made thousands of pounds. Well, but surely if Bitcoin was great, you would express your gains in Bitcoin. It would be thousands of Bitcoin. And Bitcoins would create Bitcoins, which would create Bitcoins. There would be an explosion of Bitcoin. So expressing your love of Bitcoin in another currency is a bit weird. It's like sort of saying that you like French and then telling everyone in English. Good. So let's move on. I'm going to put on the next act now, who, according to the running order that we've actually got, because when we started doing this, we were so rusty we hadn't even bothered to work out that we needed a running order. I think the next act is the wonderful Henry Ginsberg.
Evening, everyone. Thank you for welcome to anyone who's out there. Brilliant. It's very nice to be here. Like most people, I've been spending a lot of time alone lately. Been trying to find ways to fill the time. One of the ways actually in which I fill the time is I watch a lot of documentaries, and I recently watched a documentary all about the Roman Emperor Nero. Now, here are some interesting facts I learned about Nero. During his reign, he had an incestuous relationship with his mother. Right, he kicked his pregnant wife to death, and he persecuted the Christians so violently that they believed him to be the Antichrist. And it's facts like that that make me wonder, how long does a psychotic mass murderer have to have been dead for before it's socially acceptable to name a high street coffee shop after them? Right, because like there must have been a meeting, mustn't there? Like, guys, well, what sort of image do we want to go with this coffee shop? Like, I just want to know what the cut-off point is. Like, I'm pretty sure today, if I opened a bar called Starlin's, just Friday night at Starlin's, ladies drink free, but some ladies drink more free than others. Just eyebrows would be raised. Is what I'm saying. So, name, ladies. Once you go Jew, the rest won't do. Yeah, nobody says that. I wasn't raised Jewish, actually. I'm glad I wasn't raised in a religious household, because I'll be honest with you, as religions go, Judaism, it's not one of the cool ones. It's really not. For example, the story of Hanukkah, I don't know how familiar you are with it, but it features quite possibly the single shittest miracle in all of religion. Because, like, when you think of miracles in religion, you think of, Jesus rising from the dead. You think of, Moses parting the seas. You know what the miracle of Hanukkah is? They've only got enough oil to light a lamp for one night, but it burns for 8 nights. That's it. I hate to confirm the stereotype that Jews are stingy, but it's the only religion that's got a festival based on fuel efficiency, right? I joke, but it's there is a lot of racism in the world today. I think it's fair to say. Like, here's one thing I've noticed: Jews are the only ethnic group that never gets fetishized in porn. Yeah, you ever notice? You go on like the interracial sections of any porn site, all the videos are like big black cock or tight Asian girls, and I'm not saying that's okay, because it's not. It's dehumanizing and racist and wrong. But I've got to admit, I do feel a little bit left out. Just one of these days, I want to go on Pornhub or something and see like a thumbnail. Watch this nice Jewish girl get schnooped. Maybe watch a porn film where a guy comes to the front door and goes like, "Hey baby, I've come to do the accounts." Then some funky klezmer music kicks in. It's interesting. In addition, there is a lot of racism in the world. There's also a lot of sexism in the world. And I've been thinking, I think actually one of the main reasons that there's a lot of misogyny in the world is because I think as men, when we were growing up, we didn't have very good male role models. Right, like for example, when I was growing up, I used to watch James Bond movies, right? And as a kid, I thought James Bond was like the coolest character ever. And I don't know if you've noticed, but James Bond is a sociopathic, alcoholic sex pest. Yeah, you ever notice that? You remember that scene at the end of Goldfinger where he's like in the barn with Pussy Galore, and he wrestles her to the ground, and then he literally forces himself down on it. And obviously, because it's got the romantic music playing in the background, you watch it as a child and you think, oh, she can't resist his charm. Oh. And obviously, you watch it again as an adult, you realize, oh, she can't resist his upper body strength. He drinks vodka martinis, and yet we never actually see him get shit-faced, do we? We've never seen that scene in a James Bond film where he's just on his phone at 2 in the morning, just like, "Oh, Blofeld, I fucking love you, mate." Just every vodka martini. Really, by the end of that film, he should be crashing into the enemy's secret base, just Blofeld, Wanga! Make a better film, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm not the most stereotypically manly of people. Like, I'm not. Like, I've got some of my mates who I hang out with. They're a lot more stereotypically blokey than I am. Like my mates who I used to drink with when we used to go down to the pub. Like, they're so bloke. They can do lad banter. You know what I mean? And kind of like pull it off, and I can't because like we'll be getting drunk and they'll be getting Larry, and they'll say things to me like, "Oh, Henry, do you like eating pussy, Henry? Yeah, do you like eating pussy, Henry?" And I never know what to say. I'm just like, well, only if it's attached to a woman I like. I have to like the whole person. You know what I mean? If I got home tonight and there was just a disembodied vagina in my bed, I wouldn't be like, supper time. I don't know. I've been reading a lot of things lately. There's been a lot of things I've been reading about things men can do just out in public to avoid making women feel kind of scared and intimidated. And I think that's really cool. Like a lot of men, they get really defensive when they hear things like that. For me, I'm a socially awkward guy. I'm just happy for the friendly advice, But I recently realized something about myself, which is that I do this thing which I never realized I did, which is that when I'm alone and I just kind of like space out and daydream a bit, I tend to just kind of stare blankly into dead space while I'm doing this. Like, I had no idea about this. But the thing is, I often space out and daydream quite a lot, like when I'm on public transport, And like I said, I only realized this was a thing I did recently, and now I'm just racking my brain, feeling really bad about all the poor women who I must have inadvertently made feel absolutely terrified on the tubes over the years. You know what I mean? Like a girl's on the tube just doing her makeup, she suddenly looks up and just sees me staring back at her. You know what I mean? It's scary. And I'd like to be able to tell you the reason I've got that expression on my face is because I'm thinking something deep or profound, but I never am. Invariably, I'm probably just thinking something like, I wonder if Ant and Dec will ever return to their hip-hop roots. You know what I mean? Poor girl opposite me is feeling absolutely terrified. Meanwhile, I'm just opposite on the tube going like, I wonder what dinosaurs tasted like. By this point, the girl's probably looking back at me going, sweet Jesus, he's been staring at me directly for a solid 5 minutes now. Meanwhile, there's me across the room going like, hey, I wonder what colour the Simpsons would turn if they had jaundice. Hashtag not all commuters, but this is good. It is good to be doing gigs again. It's albeit online. I like it because I don't just I'm lucky enough to be on the taking advantage of the furlough scheme at the moment because in addition to doing stand-up comedy, I've got a day job. I'm actually a professional chef. I say I'm a professional chef. I work in the pub at a Wetherspoons. Yeah, it counts, doesn't it? Scoff all you like. I'll have I can microwave a lasagna like a motherfucker. I do quite a lot of cooking actually on my own at home. I've recently, in the last couple of years, I've been getting into vegan cooking. I've been cooking quite a lot of vegan food, mainly for environmental reasons, by which I mean environmental catastrophe is inevitable and I want to be prepared. That's my way of looking at it. Some people say, oh, we've got to save the planet. I'm like, nah, that's a lost cause. I just want to get my falafel recipe perfected in time for when the cows start spontaneously combusting, because it's weird because I eat less meat than I used to do because I know that eating meat is not very good for the world. But the thing is, I don't have enough willpower to give up anything completely full time. It's a real weakness of me. Like you could tell me that beer is made of the condensed tears of refugee children, and I just think to myself, right, from now on, I'm only ordering halves. But where I am, I think part of the reason actually that I think we feel okay about eating meat is because the language we use to surround it makes it sound a lot nicer than it actually is. Like for example, take scrambled eggs. Okay, so, everyone loves scrambled eggs. It's a terrific thing to have for breakfast. But I don't think we'd find scrambled eggs as appealing if we referred to them as smashed chicken periods. Yeah, not as appetizing, much more accurate. Or I was in Tesco's the other day. They were selling venison steaks, and I thought to myself, "Oh, that looks nice." And Yeah, but I don't know if I would have thought they looked nice if they'd been called Bambi burgers. Which, yeah. That hunter didn't kill Bambi's mum just for sport. He had a financial incentive. I was in Tesco the other day. You know, there's a brand of cheese called Laughing Cow. I mean, that's legitimately offensive. Just calling a brand of cheese Laughing Cow, that's like Nike releasing a pair of trainers called Happy Workers. Or an American cotton company called Reparations. It's a bit worth thinking about. I do like doing gigs. It is always nice to talk to people because, like I said, I do space out and daydream a lot. And one of the problems with that is because I spend a lot of time alone with my own thoughts. Sometimes I find it quite difficult to differentiate between fantasy and reality. And I was discussing this the other day with my friends Elvis and Tupac, and had an interesting discussion. So, guys, that is all for me. This has been a lot of fun. Please enjoy the rest of your show. Cheers.
We'll see you after the show. Now,
marvellous.
As we probably know, we've mentioned it before, today is St. Patrick's Day, 17th of March.
Yeah.
And this time last year, we were in Australia and we were going up a big, one big mountain range, and our car rolled into a ditch.
Yeah, 20 foot into a ditch.
Yeah, it was. It could have been horrendous, but luckily it wasn't. Anyway,
It was even worse than that. We're still alive.
yeah, we're still alive. And anyway, we wrote a song about just travelling around, basically. And here it comes.
Yeah.
On a road trip of a lifetime, we saved up all our cash with a big old station wagon headed for the great outback. The weather was atrocious, blowing gales across the sand, and the scenery was tedious till we reached the Shire of Bland. We had a problem with the aircon, the music and the stops. It was way too bloody cold for me, and I was way too hot. And you asked me for directions. Yep. I said left, but I went right. Yeah. And every single picnic spot ended in a fight. No, it didn't. Yeah, it did. It did not. Because you were complaining about this and that and the other bloody thing. Me complaining? I never complain about anything. When have you ever heard me complain? Too cold, too wet, too dry, too many flies. Then we got a puncture. It took 3 hours to fix. Another bloody argument. As we rolled into a ditch, the beer went through the windscreen. That was quite a blow. You made me go and rescue it from 20 feet below. In a country full of lookouts, you pull in to admire flooded plains and dried up creeks and forests still on fire. This travel stuff don't suit us. Our dream trip is in bits. It's time to head for home now. Yeah, we've just got the shit. So you finally found a place to stop for a well-earned cup of tea, with a sea of flies in your mouth and eyes, they make you wanna flee. when this bloody trip is over and our travelling's all been done.
And our
We
travelling's
can
all
get back
been done.
home to our bed in England and finally have some fun. Because
Finally
it's
have some
planned.
fun. Oh, yeah.
The Shire blend.
The Shire of Blend.
It's fucking bland.
The
The Shire blend.
The Shire of Blend. Blend, blend,
Yes,
blend.
it's bland.
Oh, it's nice to be home.
The Shire blend.
Miles and miles of the same fucking thing over and over and over.
Bland.
Flat, scrubby,
The
bloody
Shire blend.
plains with a bit of scrub in it, and then just all this sky, just loads of sky everywhere. I mean, Jesus, how much sky does this bloody country need? Anyway, we're having a glass now. It's nice, isn't it? Let's all raise our glasses to the lovely Shore of Blend. Yeah, the Shore of Blend. Oh my God, Wikipedia. Oh, let's raise them all glasses to the lovely. Oh, you look lovely, darling. I've turned into an Aussie. Wouldn't be doing any more trips for a while.
Yeah.
That's the second bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, our Mandolino, the beautiful music of our Mandolino. Now we've got a change, Mr. Miller. We've got a change of schedule because we've got a very, very funny man, and he's been sitting there for fucking hours waiting for us
For
to.
50 minutes. We're running
yeah.
a bit late. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, your headline actor of the evening is Mr. Mark Simmons. Mark Simmons. Thank you.
So I'm a one-liner comedian, so I'm going to tell you some jokes. And being that it's the third worst online gig in the world, is that correct?
Second worst.
Second worst.
Second worst. Oh, sorry, I do apologise.
Yeah.
I've printed off all the jokes I've dropped, and I thought I'd do those. But there's 361.
Oh,
So
good.
I'm not going to have time for that. So if you're watching and you're near the computer, of course you are, because that's how you watch it. Send in a number and I'll do the corresponding joke. But if not, I'm just going to sort of work from page to page. But if you want number 274, message in and then I'll do that. Bit of fun, isn't it? So let's get started. Number one. My girlfriend thinks I don't trust her. Well, that's what she's been texting her mates. Oh, we've got one already. Lovely. Number 9. Whenever I'm outside and I find my keys, I think, get in. Actually, that joke has actually developed because I've actually got that working. I've changed it to, I've just bought a new kidnapping van, get in, which works better. Yeah, there we go. I like having you as the voice of God, Brian.
Sorry.
Number 69. Oh, false number 69. Someone asked me to give a detailed explanation about going deaf. I said, here goes.
Hey.
If you could just do away sound effects after each one, you can tell why they dropped. You never know. There might be some gold here somewhere. Oh, 187. Bit of fun, isn't it? Bit of fun. Bit of interaction. 187. So there's a guy in the gym. He was bragging about how strong his glutes are. And he got me to kneel down and punch them. At that point, I thought, I've hit rock bottom. That joke requires you knowing what glutes means, which I don't think I study sports science, so that's how I know. It means bottom. 94. My dad's a plastic surgeon that specialises in boobs, and my mum always gets annoyed because he buries his head in his work.
Oh,
Don't like that one?
yeah, I do.
57. Let's have a look.
What number do you want?
42.
Oh, this is terrible.
Go on then.
After 60 minutes of playing a track, my girlfriend asked, do you want to know what this is? I said, our song. Because it was 16.
Yeah.
Oh.
42. Oh, you like that one, Brian? Oh, good. Did you need it explained, though?
No, he went out the room to go to the loo.
Oh, charming.
I'll explain it to him later. He picked number 42, so
Oh,
but
did
he's
he?
not here. Never mind. Go on.
He's gone for a number 2.
Yeah.
Watching archery can be dangerous, especially if you're the target audience.
Yeah.
Let's have a. I'm gonna. Okay, can you hear me, Krysstal?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm gonna try this one out on you.
Okay.
So do you remember the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
Do you remember what colour Raphael was?
I didn't watch it that closely.
Say red.
Red.
No, he was green. He's a turtle.
Oh.
This set is so bad that Brian started drinking. I heard it.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got an outsider. 180.
He's typed it out in letters.
He has, yeah. That's why it's taken so long to come through. 180. I hope people aren't suddenly tuning in and they haven't heard my explanation that these are my worst jokes. My girlfriend and I kept arguing about what to call my son, so we ended up calling him Barney. Do people call arguing with Barney? Yeah. What we got? 22. Used to be my house number. Number 22. My mate doesn't agree with the national anthem. He won't stand for it. Oh, I like that. Well done. Is that where you really went? You went to get the canned laughter?
Yeah. Here it is.
Genuinely, that made me feel good, even though I know it's fake. Oh, that's how much this audience is. I don't like too many things to remember, so I named my first pet the same as my mum's maiden name. I think I need to put in something about passwords in there. That's to do with passwords. I don't know. That was so delayed as well. The timing of it was perfect. I like that. Well done. This could be our new act.
We're just trying to get it, and then once we got it, we had a laugh.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. 127. I was asked if I chew after meals. I was like, no, mainly during. Do you get that? Chewing gum?
Yeah.
Rubbish.
Yeah, don't give him a laugh for that one. He doesn't.
No.
That one.
No. It's the only way I'll learn.
We should have booze as well.
Have you not got any?
No.
No. Yeah, right, but it's a good. That's for next week.
Booze. I think you meant drink, as in beer.
Yeah, I've got
I got booze.
No,
I've
but
got
we should,
booze.
yeah, no. Next week we'll have the crowd booing. But
yeah,
it'll be,
I'm really surprised that a pear-shaped online gig doesn't have booze.
yeah. Well, it will from next week.
Do you think people that make pants start with a brief outline?
They like that up north.
Hang on. Wait, right.
I've got a genuine laugh at you. Is that your laugh? Is that still fake one?
Yeah, that's Al Mandolino.
Yeah.
You've tickled his fancy.
See, I think after a while it's just sarcastic. I can hear the sarcasm in it. Can you? See, look.
My girlfriend came home after a night out and said some bloke pinched her bum. I said, "What cheek?"
Hey.
Was that 87.3545?
No, that was 87.346. Damn.
Oh, okay. Hang on. There you go. It's nice.
Do you think Sergeant Major? Oh, I don't know. Sergeant Majors are attention seekers. They always shout attention. Never works.
Yeah. Hang on,
Never works. My granddad wanted to donate his organs, but they weren't very happy at Oxfam.
Oh, hang on. There we go.
No, I'm waiting for the laugh.
Oh.
Yeah, give me a laugh.
Wait a minute. I've got to switch.
That's what
I've
you
got to
do.
switch things for
Thank you.
Yeah, I got one for you. I said, Granddad, I got one for you. I said, Granddad, what'd you do during the war? He said, what? I said, what did you do during the war? He said, Coke. There you go. That'll teach me to interfere, won't it?
I'll just write that down.
Yeah.
is that going with your rejects?
Yeah.
Almont's 99.
I read a book about Fort Knox. It was hard to get into.
Oh.
I watched Frozen. I watched Frozen, and to get over it, I watched Thor.
Yeah. I thought you said 4, but you said Thor. Yeah, that's better.
Thor.
Wow, you sort of got to say both. Yeah. Oh, did I? Oh, I can't talk properly. That's the trouble. This doesn't even work in this situation. I'll tell you what I'm against. This mic stand. I haven't got a mic stand. I'd love to take that to every gig I do. Oh, I'm overrunning. Classic. Let's do one more. What number we got? 15. Let's have a look. I wrote a novel about a threesome. I did it in third person. Get that? Not ended on that. Not ended on that.
No,
Do you remember Emmerdale Farm? Do you remember when Emmerdale was Emmerdale Farm? Back in its heyday.
Al likes that one. There we go.
I think I'll end on that one. This has been an absolute pleasure. My 4th time playing Pear Shaped. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey.
Now over to Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller, who will carry on the situation, acknowledging the fact that things have changed.
Where's that man?
Well, Al liked it.
There you
They
are,
haven't
there you
changed
go.
that much, have they? I mean,
Huh?
things haven't. Yeah. So yeah, Ava said that she usually provides the booze, so
Yes.
The booze.
Yes,
I'm waiting for that door behind you to open.
Because, I've got booze because you need it. So it's everything creates carbon these days. I thought, all right, I will save the planet. I will stay at home and I will never go out and just stay at home and drink myself to death. And then I discovered that whiskey has one of the largest CO2 footprints on the planet. So there's a useless bit of information. So yes, Ava dropped by in the comments. I thought she wasn't going to come this week because, she does watch it. And, sometimes there's something better on the television, like a good zombie film, where you can watch people die and it's entertaining instead of just watching people die, which is Pear Shaped. So I'm missing the pub. I am. I used to like the pub. I used to go to the Standard in Croydon. The landlord, you go in there, and the landlord would say, "What do you want?" And I say, "Guinness." Or on another occasion, I go in there and he said, "What do you want?" And I'll say, "Guinness." Or on another occasion, I'll go in there and he'll say, "What do you want?" And I'll say, "Guinness." And eventually you crack, don't you? So one day I went in there and he said, "What do you want?" I said, "Have you got any emotions?" And he said, "Yeah, bitter or extra cold." So that's a joke. These are my old jokes. Good. I didn't. Things will be better. I've been working on inventions while we're in lockdown. So in the future, no one will step in dog poo anymore. Because I've created a machine that will give everyone turd immunity. These are rubbish jokes, aren't they? Good. It's going all right though, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm going to put an act on, I think, because I think that's my role here. I think that, you've got to stick to what you're good at. So the next act, all the way from Los Angeles, is the wonderful Mr. Cole Parker.
Spasibo for joining us for the administration compulsory broadcast. It's good news today. The administration are pleased to announce the candidates for the upcoming election. America is the greatest country in the world, no question. Which is why we deserve the best leaders from the best family, the richest, most successful, best-looking family the world has ever known. That's what a lot of us are saying. That's why this administration will be proud to stand under the stars and stripes and represent America at our upcoming War Crimes Tribunal at The Hague. And this is why picking the right Führer to lead this great nation is crucial. Picking the wrong president could risk a return to the dark days of the radical leftists before times, back when we had hospitals, welfare, weekends off, and no domestic military deployment protecting us from Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and other terrorist organisations. Just remember, if it wasn't for us, you'd all be dead. Remember that. Thankfully, things have improved in Washington since the state executions of Biden, Harris, Pelosi, and their co-conspirators. We drained that swamp all right. But even so, we, the administration, trust that you, the American and Russian voting public, will make the right decision this November the 3rd. Here's a quick reminder of who's on the ballot this year. Just put your mark in the box next to the person you want to be the 46th President of the United States of America and take your ballot to your nearest Mar-a-Lago spa or nationalised private golf club. Remember, you must be a Mar-a-Lago member to gain entry to the polling stations. Non-members will not be permitted. Protesters may be hurt. Seriously hurt. Simply take your vote to the clubhouse and ask for Rudy. He'll make sure it gets where it needs to go. Details of how you can apply to vote can be found at this email address. Voting is open to all male American citizens between the ages of 26 and 60. The following groups will not be permitted to apply. Just make sure that whatever you do, you vote. But vote the right way. Vote the way your conscience tells you. Follow your heart. But get it right, or we'll find you. Good night, America. Sweet dreams. Oh, one more thing. Don't forget the re-election will be on the 5th of November this year. Attendance is mandatory. See you there.
Ladies and gentlemen! Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Cole Porter. Cole Porter. Cole Parker. Ladies and gentlemen, our men in Italy. Our men in La La Land. Oh, he's got his finger on the pulse. He's years ahead of us.
So it's all over. It's all over.
It's all over. The party's over. Hooray! Yeah. Yeah, it's all over, yeah.
So the first act we saw
Roll call, ladies and gentlemen, the roll call. First act we saw
was Robert White.
Robert White. Yeah, Robert White. He was push the button for fuck's sake.
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah.
And now the end is near, and a week the pub's open, just don't mingle and order via Zoom. Two houses can meet in one house, just don't talk to each other, and you've got to have a different person in every room. Go on a cinema date, just sit apart from the screening. Take a holiday, just ignore all the cleaning. Go to the zoo, but when a tiger bites you, please refrain from screaming. Good news if you're afraid of barbers, from now they'll be dressed like Hannibal Lecter. Good news if you like bingo, it's on, just don't shout bingo, and you've got to wear a bingo ball protector. You can use the fun fair, just hold the vomit inside. The gym is closed, but you can use the slide. And for performers and singers and actors and comedians, as we turn this page, best of all, the theatre's open, just with no one on the stage.
Nice you there, Robert White. Oh.
And Robert White's mum.
And Robert White's mum, yes, and she will be featuring even more as time goes on.
Followed by
anybody who can give birth to Robert White deserves to feature. Followed by, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Dickie Richards. Dickie Richards, ladies and gentlemen, he does jokes. Say hello, Dickie.
Hello, Dickie.
Thank you, Dickie Richards. More from him in the near future. Yeah, followed by
2 minutes of pat and math.
what about? There's a bloke there called Anthony. He's supposed to be co-hosting, and you're not letting him join in. Every time I say followed by, I'll go back and I'll do that again. That was Dickie Richards. Followed by
2 minute of pat and math.
Oh, see, that's what we're after.
It's 2 minutes.
I know, 2 mins.
Mins.
Yeah, 2 mins.
Oh,
Yeah,
bloody
2
hell,
mins.
we haven't got enough time.
Yes, we have.
Or battery.
We've got more time. Go on. Quick.
Okay,
2 minutes of
left.
pat and math.
Hi, Sean.
Catherine, hello. And sad times for our friends on B-Wing. Sorry for your loss of privileges after the regrettable incident. Welcome, though, to 2 minutes of pat and math.
Yeah, so today, Sean, I'm asking you, would you steal a car?
Oh, I think, yeah, I would. And I'll tell you why. What this country needs, I think, what it's missing is a generation of entrepreneurs, risk takers. And if I've got to prove to an employer or a bank manager, that I've got what it takes, I'm a maverick who gets things done, what better way than hot wiring an abandoned Ford Cortina on an industrial estate?
You're not wrong there, Sean.
What I'm doing, I'm creating my own opportunities.
Yeah.
That's vital. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd totally be up for it. Always try new things. I think I'd need probably take a course or something, like at night school. I don't think I know how to go about it.
Yeah.
Really. Like, because you have to, like, smash the window to get in, don't you? And then it's going like, woo, woo, and you go like, shh, 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 shh. And then it stops screaming, and then and they've got like Hot Wheel it, haven't you? And then you got to drive it away. And like, I haven't driven in a long time, so it'd be really embarrassing if I stalled it. So
yeah, little tip for you there, Catherine. Have a peek through the window. Choose an automatic.
Oh my god, I never thought of that. That's a really good idea. Thanks, Sean.
All right. See, entrepreneur, always thinking.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2 minutes of pattern math. Now Anthony's going to speak.
Oh my! And then we had the wonderful Mr. Henry Ginsberg.
Henry Ginsberg! Henry Ginsberg! Lovely to see you again, Henry. You were spectacularly wonderful. And I like the way you dance about when you're doing this stuff. That's a bit of an awkward moment, isn't it? All right. Okay. So, followed by the beautiful mandolin music of El Mandolino. El Mandolino.
Ah, sublime.
El Mandolino. And Mr. Miller's going to speak again now because no, he's not, because we
changed the order.
We brought the headliner, because you can't have funny people just sitting there for hours watching somebody else, because they just get depressed. They go, oh, for fuck's sake. So we brought him forward, and it's nice to be brought forward. Ladies and gentlemen, your headliner is Mark Simmons.
No, he's gone. Fuck him.
He's gone. Fuck him. He's gone. Fuck him.
It couldn't be bothered to stay at the end.
Fuck him. See, just because we kept him, I'm glad we kept him hanging around. Yeah. So anyway, I never liked him.
No.
Never coming on here doing fucking jokes.
Yeah, being funny.
Spoiling it for the rest of us. You know what I mean, Dickie, don't you?
I know what you mean. It's disgusting.
Yeah, coming and doing jokes.
I mean, what's he thinking of?
It's all right. He'll be back next week.
Oh, I thought it was very funny.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed him. Yeah. So,
and then we
what
had-
happens? And Anthony's going to speak now.
Then we had, who do we have, Anthony?
Anthony just fucking sits there staring into
We had
space.
Tom
doesn't he?
Parker, Our Man in La La Land.
That's Our Man in La La Land. Ladies and gentlemen, telling you what it would be like in 2032 if Donald had won the election that he didn't. So, yeah, and what happened after that?
Well, we had the roll
2
call,
more
basically.
minutes of pattern math, we've had them.
We had roll call, we've had
They've
everything.
been, yeah.
That's
It's
really.
all done, really, isn't it? It's just over now. So all we need now is the outro, and then we can just relax and pretend this evening never happened.
Did you say it's in Dystopia?
Yeah, that's right.
Where the hell is Dystopia?
Well,
I wonder, I know where Fitzrovia is.
Yes, we all know
There
that.
used to be a comedy club there called Pear Shaped in Fitzrovia.
Yes. Well, if you'd let me get a word in edgeways.
Pear Shaped. It's just a favour to come in. And we hope that you'll be coming back again to Pear Shaped in Dystopia. Every Wednesday night at 8:30. Every Wednesday night at 8:30.
Yes, and that's what Brian's doing at the moment, pissing on 2020. It's about
Of
his
course.
fifth pith of the hour. But anyway, you
The
won't
thing is,
you
once you
count it.
start, you know,
Yeah,
it's difficult
obviously.
to stop.
I think it's the beer as well, don't you think?
Quite possibly. I'm on the Guinness, of course.
Oh,
Of
good,
course,
good.
yes.
There we go. I don't know if you can see it. Probably not. Guinness. St.
We're
Patrick's Day.
product placing because we're social.
My left leg fell asleep about half an hour ago, and it's so much better doing it like this than doing it in the pub, because you can get up and dance about and nobody's watching you here. You know, when it used to happen in the Fitzroy Tavern, I used to have to sit there with the pins and needles in my leg.
It's obviously not sitting correctly, Al.
Well, yeah, I was just so engrossed in the show that
What's not sitting properly?
that my leg
Al.
went to sleep.
Huh?
As it legs keep going to sleep.
Oh, that's what happens when you get to a certain age, Al.
Yeah, I know. But,
Yeah, or if you sit in a certain position.
yeah.
Yeah, and you start doing Facebook posts about paint
Yeah.
drying. And,
Yeah, I know.
MDF.
I've been fascinated by that. Fascinated.
Yeah.
And what-
I saw a film once that was called The Painter and Decorator. It dried in the end. Alright. Anyway.
What was that thing about that? What was the other thing about the battery? You were unsoldering some old battery out of some old. What was it like?
The
Some...
batteries, the
Yeah,
memory
but what was it? The
batteries.
control panel for some old nuclear warhead or something? Is this
Yeah,
what
you
the?
take the whole fucking thing apart just to change a battery in it. The batteries were soldered in 35 years ago.
But you forgot to mention, Al, what that you just go, oh, here's a bit of old tech. You forgot to give it a name.
What? Oh.
It's just old tech.
Yeah.
Several times you mentioned this old tech. Oh, look at it. Oh, look at the soldering on that. Oh, what fucking cowboy done that then? Oh. And what? All you've done is you've changed the fucking battery in a bit of old tech.
Yeah. And it worked.
What old tech was it?
What? One of them was the Yamaha SBX50D, as used by Phil Collins on his Something in the Air Tonight. That snare drum sound, bang sound. The sound of that, you need the Yamaha SBX50D.
But that only makes that specific sound if the battery's running out on it.
No, that was
no good now with a new battery, is it?
No,
you have to wait 20 years.
Do you realise it's still going out?
Huh?
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
it's
still
still going
live.
out.
Yeah. We've got another couple of minutes and then I'll end the broadcast.
Why, do you want to slag somebody off?
No, I just thought I'd point it out because you said that's like the outro, and I thought like if people were not aware, they might be, they might say
there's still 7 people watching.
Yeah.
The diehards, the good old diehards.
I've had one drum lesson in my life, and that was from the bloke whose proudest boast was I taught Phil Collins how to play the drums. So I was about 16 or 17. I went round there. I didn't have a drum kit. I had a practice pad, which was a fucking disc of wood. It wasn't MDF. We didn't have it then. It was like plywood, covered in rubber. And I had 2 drumsticks. That was my whole kit. So when I got behind his kit, I thought, fucking hell, a drum kit. Oh. So he said, just going to go in the other room and make a phone call. Can you do paradiddles for me? So I was 17, right? Paradiddles. And he didn't tell me why I needed to do them. So anyway, I got there. I thought, oh, fuck this. I did a fucking great drum solo. He came in, shouted at me, and I never went back.
Yeah. And then Phil Collins used it in his song.
Yeah. But he only used the snare drum.
But if you want to make it sound right, I can sort you out, you know?
Wow.
What? Make what sound right?
If you want to sound like Phil Collins, I've got the box that does that.
I don't. Even Phil Collins doesn't want to sound like Phil Collins. Not nowadays.
But if you ever do,
Al can make you a deep fake.
A deep fake, yeah. Part of my pension plan. Do you know how much these things go for on eBay?
Yeah, but I can send you a sample that'll cost you nothing.
Couldn't you be sending that to the hospital, Brian?
I've got every snare drum sound Phil Collins ever played.
But I've got the sexy hardware, man, you know.
Yeah, but yours hasn't got a fucking battery.
It does now.
By the way, your mandolin sounded really nice tonight. That sounded really good.
Yeah.
Plus, it actually sounded pretty good last week. Right at the I know I wasn't happy about last week, but
it's to do with this tat I've got down here, you know, the thing with the flashing lights.
Yeah. Tat's the way to do it.
Look at that thing! Wow.
Yeah.
As used by Daft Punk, who've just split up.
Oh, great! I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised if they got that sound out of it.
It's French.
Henry's tired. You're making Henry fucking yawn.
Yeah. Just like old times.
With your northern banter.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure, Henry. It's really nice to see you again.
Yeah, always a
even though you live about a mile away from us.
Of course,
Do you still live there?
I used to deliver newspapers to your street when I was here.
Yeah, no, I'm still here.
Before I had a practice pad. You're still there, yeah?
Yeah,
That's all right.
still
It's
here.
nice round there. nice.
Yeah, it's one of the better parts of Harrow.
Yeah. It's I used to, when I lived in Harrow many years ago, when I was a teenager in Harrow, I used to get beaten up regularly. Just the gangs in Wealdstone. I nearly got stabbed in the railway in Harrow Wealdstone. And then I moved up to Hackney and nobody ever fucking attacked me. And it was the scariest looking shithole I've ever lived in. But,
I don't know. I think Wealdstone's still pretty dodgy these days, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think the thing with Hackney and that is the street lighting's really bad. And I've worked this out after in the East End, like whenever I think the street lights were too far back and there's not enough of them. And they've got these wide streets that you kind of see the houses from, so you see the whole front, so you don't feel enclosed in anything. Anyway, this is that's my bit of banter because I don't usually.
I thought Al should have come up with that.
I have to end the broadcast now because our battery's running out.
Yeah.
So thank you to everybody who watched. Thank you to the 5 people still watching.
Yeah, thank you, audience.
And if you feel like donating, there's the QR code down there somewhere.
No.
And I also put a link.
Your foundation, it just gets turned into.
I also put a link early on in the comments if you can't use a QR code. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Ending the broadcast now.
Bring both of your friends.